We have breaking news that we're following right now. We're about to hear from Sheriff Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. We have breaking news that we're following right now. We're about to hear from Sheriff Chuck Wright about a search that's been happening in Woodruff.
This is the area. Let's show you on a map where all this is happening. It's Wofford Road off Highway 101 in Woodruff. A large lot there in that area just off the highway, a very rural area where there has been a search since 8 a.m. this morning on a piece of property owned by a registered sex offender. Our Brianna Smith has been there live since we started covering this story early this morning. And as we wait for the sheriff to begin this news conference, Brianna, what are you hearing on scene?
Hey, Gordon, you know, it's been an interesting day as we've seen all of this develop and the large police presence that has continually crawled into this area. You said that this belongs to a registered sex offender. His name is Todd Kohlhepp, and we know that he's currently in the Spartanburg County Detention Center, but they have not released charges for what he's in there for. We have seen all kinds of police presence in here. A backhoe was brought in around 8:30 this morning. The sheriff's helicopter has been canvassing the area along with deputies all across the scene. And for the sheriff to be out here, you know, it's a pretty big deal. We did just find out that this is not related to the Jermaine West case because there were a lot of family members out here standing around waiting for information, and once the sheriff's office, communications office showed up, they told them that this is not related to the Jermaine West case. Obviously a very high profile missing persons case in the Woodruff area. So again, that leaves more questions of what this is and what's going on here and why they're canvassing these 95 acres that are here. We've talked to a lot of neighbors because this is a very close-knit community, and they tell us that Todd Kohlhepp actually purchased this property 2 years ago, put up the fence immediately, and then started planting some trees around it, and that he wasn't seen here a lot because his house isn't here. From the sex offender registry, we know he lives in Moore on Windsong Lane, and so this is just a property that he owns, 95 acres worth of it. We do have the sheriff walking over to us. We're going to be miking him up so that he can give a press update on what is going on here at this time. We know it's very developing, and we still are trying to get all of that information on why they've arrested Todd Kohlhepp and what is exactly going on. Neighbors are even coming off their porch now and trying to figure out what's going on. So the sheriff is going to walk over now. I'm sorry for the pause. We're trying to figure out what's going on here, but the sheriff's walking over, and he's going to be giving that breaking update about what this case is all about and why deputies have been out there. They really asked us to be, you know, kind of patient about this, obviously, because they're investigating and trying to find out what's going on. Do you guys have any questions that maybe I can answer right now before the sheriff gets down here?
Brianna, you know, speaking of the neighbors and what they knew of him, 7 News just looked into him, knowing his name now at this point, and found out that in 1987 he was convicted of kidnapping in Arizona, which is why he landed on the sex offender registry. From what you know of what neighbors know about him, did they realize that?
Yeah, they did know that he was a sex offender. They didn't know what his charges were. But we are currently miking up the sheriff for this breaking press conference, so I'm going to turn off my microphone so that we can hear Sheriff.
Yeah, we can already hear some of that feedback. I tell you what, in the control room, we have some video of that scene, and we showed it a little while ago while Brianna was talking to us. And it's interesting. Let's point out a few things as we wait to hear from Sheriff Wright. You'll notice the helicopter there to the left of your screen, and behind that is what Brianna mentioned, an excavator digging up dirt here. There are a lot of rumors floating around about what's been happening during this search since about 8 o'clock this morning. Certainly we've heard a lot of things, both on background and off the record, that we're waiting for the sheriff to confirm when he speaks to us in a few minutes. So we're being very careful about speculating about what they're doing out there on that property, but maybe given some of the equipment there, you can start to piece that together.
Okay, and we're going to head over right now to Sheriff Chuck Wright.
I'm not live here, will you? Be careful, the cameras are on us.
You're live on most things.
Obviously, he's still setting up at this point. We can tell you we checked in with the coroner's office, and the coroner's office was not sent to that scene. So obviously, we're going to learn more from Sheriff Chuck Wright about what brought them to that area and how the suspect is involved with that as the sheriff hopefully plans to tell us a little bit more about why there's been so much heavy activity here since 8:30 this morning.
Huge presence out there. All right, let's go to the sheriff.
Find a missing person from Anderson City who was in a container chained up like a dog. We found her alive, and she's being treated at a medical facility right now. And it's tragic, that this person was being treated like that. We were working a joint missing person case from Anderson City. The Spartanburg County Sheriff's Department and Anderson City were working on it and have been for a while. The leads led us to this location here. We found Miss Kayla Victoria Brown, and she's alive and well, and she is obviously traumatized. She told us that she'd been locked in that container for 2 months. It's just only by God's grace that she's alive, if you'll know the absolute truth. We are still looking for Charles David Carver. He was the other part of this missing person. We have not located him yet. We haven't located him, and this person told us that there might even be 4 people on this piece of property deceased, and we don't know if that's, we just don't know. We're in the baby stages of the investigation. We are trying very hard to search. As you can see, we got volunteers and law enforcement from everywhere helping us search and trying to find information. Now, I know that everybody's interest here is from the Woodruff case we had a while back, and I can't tell you that it's not related, and I cannot tell you that it is. We'll let's have to wait and see what we find. Need your prayers for this lady. Got to just keep praising God and telling you how great the investigators are for just keeping on following up on leads. I really can't go into a lot more details because there are some other things that we need to do, but we're still, we have no intentions of leaving this property until we're finished. So whatever the outcome is, we'll certainly let you know. But we arrested a guy this morning that is a registered sex offender, and his name is Todd Kohlhepp, and he is currently incarcerated. And we're trying to get all this sorted out to figure out exactly what we're going to charge him with. I can tell you that one of the charges is going to be kidnapping, and it could be murder. It could be a number of things. We just got to find out what we have before we can tell you anything. He lives on Highway 290 in the Moore area. So if you guys know this Todd Kohlhepp guy and can tell us something that we need to know, we want to hear from you, because we're trying to make sure that that we don't have a serial killer on our hands. This very possibly could be what we have. So we'll know once we find some evidence that we're looking for or not. So I will try my best to field questions, but you just have to understand that there's some things I'm not going to talk about, and there's some things that I may be able to talk about. So let me, Miss Brianna, go ahead.
Any connections from the victims and Mr. Kohlhepp, or how they even got paths crossed? I
think they were friends, and I think they had a relationship, but what that is, I don't know at this point. But I don't think this was a random act, if that's what your question may be going to. So, we're still trying to unfold this. This is, it's pretty horrible. We got deputies down there that came to do the search warrant this morning and heard this lady banging on this container, and for all of our officers to open the container up and see her chained like a dog, I mean, that is incredible.
Does it look like she's been fed at all?
She said she had been fed, and also she said some other stuff that we'll let come out in the investigation. But the main thing is we did find her alive. Thank God. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you, but thank God.
She's the one who told you there may be up to 4 other people?
Yes, sir. She's the one that gave us the information of what we need to be looking for. Now, when you're locked in a container for 2 months, I'm sure your mind can play tricks on you. I don't know if that's what's going on or what she's telling us is the absolute truth. We'll let you know as soon as we find out.
How old is she?
She looked to me like she was, late 20s, early 30s, a younger looking lady.
Can you tell us how large this container is?
Feet-wise, I guess it's 30 feet by 15 foot by 10, 12 foot high. I mean, it's big enough to put a couple of four-wheelers in and stuff like that. It's not unusual for people to buy these things and put them on property like that to store equipment and
like
stuff.
A shed storage container kind of thing?
It's a totally, no, it's metal. It's totally enclosed, and you know, I don't want to be in there. I don't want to be in there for a whole day. No, this was above ground, and you know, it was padlocked and chained and all this stuff. So, not that I saw.
Sorry, where is she being held right now?
She's being treated at a local facility, for medical facility, and I'm not going to name which one.
Did she give any indication that Charlie is still alive or that something happened to him before she was put in there?
No, that's a question I really don't want to address at this time. But you know, we're just praying for the best outcome.
The man who was arrested, does he own the property, and where was he found? Was he here?
He was on the property here when we served the search warrant, and we arrested him immediately. Yes, sir.
Sheriff, what led to this place? Can you develop on some details about that?
I'll unfold it as it goes, but it was basically just really great police work, you know, about the whereabouts and good searching online records and stuff like that about who owns this property, where they could be, you know, those kind of things. So just good old-fashioned police work.
Was there like an initial tip that came in about the missing woman, or what?
Well, Anderson City started the missing person. You know, it really isn't that unusual to have somebody that's missing for a day or two, and then, you know, it turns into something like this. Because most of them come home, they show up. Oh, I forgot to tell you somewhere. You know, whatever. Just trying to get peace or whatever it is. So.
Are there indications this could be related to other acts?
Yes. Yes.
What can you tell me about that?
I can't tell you anything about that at this point, but I can tell you, you know, the reason why we knew all the whereabouts and the things that we know about this gentleman that we arrested is because of our sex crime investigator does a great job of making sure to come and check and do those kind of things that they're saying the truth to us. So, you know, I want to pat her on the back too. She's Sergeant Deb Blanton. She did a great job in making sure that we got all this, you know, information. We didn't have to stand on the scene and go looking for it.
Were there any like weapons found on scene or anything that
yes.
indicates sexual assault?
I'm not going to answer the sexual assault thing. Plenty of weapons and ammo found. Yes, sir.
Sheriff, when she was found, who found her first, and what was the reaction of her as soon as she saw the investigator or whoever found her?
Well, all I can tell you is the investigators found them, because they were like 6 or 7 down here. We were going to search the property, and it was pretty emotional, to say the least, when she was found, especially, you know, when she was chained like a dog. She had a chain around her neck. You know, and I'm telling you, it's only by God's grace we found that little girl alive now.
Hey, Sheriff, there was a lot of talk in this missing persons case, again, national attention because of the Facebook post by Charlie Carver and weird stuff that was being posted on there. It even got shut down. Any indication that Kohlhepp was behind that or any connection for you guys?
It's super possible that he was doing that, you know, to try to get people off of his trail. But that's just a thought. I don't know that to be for sure. But we're going to... you know, Facebook does a good job working with us and helping us with timelines and those things, and we'll be with them. We'll get with them.
Is there anything else you can tell us that's on the property? Is there a house?
I haven't seen a house.
Okay.
Haven't seen a house. It looks like to me that it was going to be some type of a farm. You know, it's not unusual for people to buy property like this and just enjoy it for hunting and leisure and whatever. So.
How far does this fence expand?
Well, this property's almost 100 acres, so it's pretty close to that.
So what have you guys done? If you brought in equipment this morning, backhoes and stuff like that, what have you guys been doing with that kind of equipment?
We've just been moving stuff that we are trying to see if we can find some evidence, and we've found some evidence, but you know, when we find what we think we might find, we'll certainly let you know. Yes, ma'am.
Did Todd and Kayla have any sort of relationship that you know of?
I didn't understand your first part.
Todd and Kayla, do they know each other? Have they met before?
I don't think it's random at all. I think they were acquainted with one another, and how so, I'll let you know as soon as we develop that.
I mean, this is stuff that we hear out of movies.
Yeah, I was telling the deputies that. We had prayer with them when I got on scene, thanking God for, and just ask God to take that scene out of their mind. Just take it out of their mind. And yeah, this is exactly what you read in books. Ma'am, you had a question?
The man who was arrested, what was his reaction?
I wasn't here. He was already gone when I got here, so I don't know. I know he said he wanted a lawyer, so we respect that, yes.
Was there any evidence of anyone else in the container, any other?
Not that we know of yet, but we're not going to close anything out. This is wide open, and we're gonna fine tooth comb, brush over everything, and make sure that we got everything that we need. Yes, sir.
Sir, is this a good indication that the sex offenders registry work, the visitation and all
Yes.
of that, or if there's any improvement that we need to be concerned about?
Yeah, I think I think that some of them need to be on the chain gang instead of being out here able to do this kind of stuff. I hear people, you know, I'm about forgiveness and mercy. I am, but you know, when you got somebody that's still doing those things, you know, how much is enough? You know, how much is enough before we decide that we're going to get really stringent with our laws and go, you're not going to hurt anybody anymore? When is enough?
I know you said he's a registered sex offender. Do you happen to know if you've dealt with him many times over the years? Is that the only
I can get with you and let you know, because I don't know all that, and I would be just guessing, and I don't want to do that at this point.
Sheriff, we know you were searching over here a couple weeks ago. Did you guys find anything that helped you get that search warrant, and if so, what was it?
I'll let you know as soon as we can talk about it.
Where
All right,
are you in the search of the property? How far along? How much more do you have to do out here to search the property for other people, perhaps, or whatever?
We've been out here since 8:30 this morning, and we're not done until we are sure that we have no more evidence to recover. So however long that takes. All right. Listen, I'm not going to talk anymore. I got some things I really need to go do. I want you to pray for those deputies and the families, please. Please pray for them, because this is tragic. I mean, I'm sad that a lady was found like that, but I'm still, again, thanking God that she was found alive. You know, that's a miracle. God's still in the miracle business, by the way. Can y'all unhook me before I run off with your stuff?
Do you plan on holding another press conference near showtime?
That was Sheriff Chuck Wright in Woodruff right now, where they have found a woman alive from Anderson County, Kayla Brown. He said she was chained up like a dog.
Yeah, so with a chain around her neck inside a storage container on 100 acres of property with really nothing else on it. The possibility exists, the sheriff says, that the gentleman here, Todd Kohlhepp, a registered sex offender who has already been convicted of kidnapping, is in custody. He says that man will likely be charged with kidnapping, and murder charges may follow, because there is the possibility, according to the sheriff, of up to 4 dead people that could be found on that property. Some of the evidence you saw him talking about collecting.
Yeah, he even looked in, or said the term, a possible serial killer here. So we'll, of course, be following this story. We'll have much more for you on Live at 5. We apologize. We had